The story begins with a mysterious man called the Traveler. He walks into a quiet Christmas tree shop where a worker explains that the item the Traveler wants was expensive to get because of stricter border security. The worker demands a high payment. Without saying a word, the Traveler places a black bag full of cash on the table. The worker hands him a car key and tells him to find the item in the trunk of a blue BMW. After the deal is done, the Traveler coldly kills the worker and another man before burning the shop to the ground. He retrieves a black suitcase from the BMW's trunk. Meanwhile, Ethan Kopech, a TSA agent at LAX, has been stuck in a dull job for 3 years. He once dreamed of being a police officer but was rejected. Now he feels like he's just going through the motions, except when he's with his girlfriend Nora, a manager at the same airport. Nora and Ethan are deeply in love, and she's pregnant with their first child. The couple rides a bus to work, and Nora tries to cheer him up, gently teasing him about his career. She even jokes about how she rejected him a few times before agreeing to date him, encouraging him not to give up so easily. Ethan stays quiet, feeling discouraged. When they arrive at the airport, they head to their respective jobs. Ethan shows up late as usual, frustrating his supervisor. A law enforcement officer named Williams briefs the team about new security measures from the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. The agents are given counterfeit detecting pens to prevent fake boarding passes and are told to report anything suspicious to the lead officer. Ethan's friend advises him to take his job seriously, especially since he's about to become a father. His friend also points out that he got a promotion before Ethan because of his hard work. Determined, Ethan asks his supervisor for a promotion. Predictably, his boss brings up Ethan's tardiness and doubts his dedication. Ethan defends himself, insisting he's qualified and can spot fake passes better than anyone, even Leo. His friend supports him by giving up his spot at the scanner so Ethan can prove himself. Meanwhile, a white van arrives at the airport. Inside, a man is chained up. Another figure, known as the Watcher, uses this van as a base to hack the airport's security cameras. At his post, Ethan receives a counterfeit pen and begins scanning passengers' items. Unknown to him, the Traveler has been monitoring his movements through the Watcher. Initially, they had planned to blackmail Ethan's friend Jason, who was supposed to be at the scanner. But when they see Ethan instead, they quickly dig into his personal life. They discover his address, his relationship with Nora, and her pregnancy. The Watcher shares this information with the Traveler. A passenger hands Ethan an earpiece, saying it isn't hers. Ethan takes it, planning to put it in Lost and Found. Suddenly he gets a text. "Put it on." Curious but uneasy, Ethan complies. A voice speaks in his ear. It's the Traveler, calm but menacing. The Traveler gives Ethan a terrifying ultimatum. Let a specific bag through the scanner without raising an alarm, or Nora will die. Ethan, shocked and scared, listens as the Traveler explains the instructions. A man wearing a red cap will come through security for Northwind Flight 1850, leaving at 5:40 p.m. Ethan must let the man's bag pass without question. When Ethan nervously asks what's in the bag, the Traveler dismisses him coldly, saying it doesn't matter. To make things worse, the Traveler starts listing personal details about Ethan's friend Jason, his address, his family, and even the fact that Jason has twins. The threat is clear. Failure to cooperate will put everyone Ethan cares about in danger. Panicked, Ethan discreetly tries to call 911, but the Watcher, monitoring him through the hacked cameras, quickly alerts the Traveler. The Traveler gives Ethan a chilling warning. His men have a rifle aimed at Nora, Ethan's pregnant girlfriend. If Ethan disobeys, they'll shoot. Panicked, Ethan ends his call and follows the Traveler's orders, locking his phone in a drawer with trembling hands. Meanwhile, Detective Eleanor arrives at the burned Christmas tree shop, where she finds the bodies of Ove Pan and his nephew, both killed by the Traveler. She discovers they were members of the Bratva, a Russian crime organization. Among the evidence, Eleanor finds a watch Vapan was wearing. When she pries open the back, she uncovers an ATF bug, a tracking chip from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives. The chip holds up to 72 hours of audio recordings. She decides to send it to a friend in law enforcement who specializes in recovering data. Back at LAX, the Christmas Eve crowd is lively, filled with festive energy. Amid the chaos, Ethan tries to use his smartwatch to send an SOS message, but the Watcher, always monitoring, notices and forces Ethan to stop. Helpless, Ethan puts the device away. The Traveler, clearly enjoying his control over Ethan, starts revealing details about Ethan's life. He mentions Ethan's father worked as a mall security guard, and his mother is a teacher. Ethan is left wondering how the traveller knows so much. Meanwhile, Elena's colleague recovers some audio from the damaged ATF chip. Most of it is degraded, but fragments reveal alarming details. Vapang was selling firearms to Russian buyers. Elena learns that the traveller is a freelancer, someone hired to complete dangerous jobs without asking questions. At his post, Ethan takes a risk. When a passenger hands him their boarding pass, he scribbles a note about the traveller's identity and discreetly gives it to Officer Leo, pretending it's part of a routine check. Leo understands the gravity of the situation and leaves to call for backup. But the traveller, always ahead of the game, senses something is wrong. Before Leo can act, the traveller injects him with a fast-acting poison, causing a fatal heart attack. Through Ethan's earpiece, the traveller warns him, if he tries something like that again, Nora will be killed. The tension escalates when Ethan's supervisor unexpectedly reassigns him to his original post near the metal detectors. This disrupts the traveller's plan. Furious, the traveller warns Ethan that failing to return to his assigned position will have deadly consequences. Thinking fast, Ethan comes up with a risky plan. He spikes Jason's coffee with alcohol, knowing the smell will raise suspicion. When the supervisor smells it, Jason is fired on the spot. As Jason leaves, he gives Ethan a sharp look, realizing Ethan set him up. Reluctantly, Ethan allows the suspicious bag to pass through the scanner without an alarm. Meanwhile, Elena reviews the recovered audio and identifies the word Novichok, recognizing it as a deadly neurotoxic chemical used in Russian chemical warfare. She contacts Homeland Security. Ethan, overwhelmed with guilt, returns the boarding pass to the traveller's associate, Matto. As soon as he gets a chance, he rushes to the restroom to vomit. The weight of the situation sinks in. He has just helped the traveller transport a deadly chemical. The traveller reveals more about Novichok, explaining that even a tiny amount can cause people to drown in their own blood. At the same time, Agent John from Homeland Security arrives at Elena's precinct to review her findings. Both John and Elena's captain are skeptical, as the evidence hinges on a single distorted word from the recording. The tension rises when Elena's colleague interrupts with urgent news. A 911 call was placed from inside LAX by Ethan Kopech, a TSA officer at the Northwind terminal. Alarmed, Agent John and Elena head to the airport. Police and Homeland Security arrive at the Northwind terminal, creating a heightened sense of urgency in the bustling airport. Ethan's supervisor announces random security checks for 50 passengers as a precaution, intensifying the chaos. Ethan seizes an opportunity and secretly logs into the scanner system using his supervisor's credentials. He flags Matto, the traveller's associate, for inspection. Moments later, the public address system calls Matto to security. The traveller, ever watchful, immediately realises Ethan is behind this. Furious, he keeps a close eye on Ethan, who is overcome with fear and guilt. Panicked, Ethan runs to Nora, hoping to protect her. As he reaches her, a red laser dot appears on her body, a sniper's aim. Nora, hurt and angry, confronts Ethan about Jason's sudden dismissal, suspecting his involvement. Before Ethan can respond, the traveller's menacing voice interrupts through his earpiece, warning that if Ethan speaks, Nora will be killed. Ethan steps back, swallowing his words to keep her safe. The tension escalates when the traveller corners Ethan in the bathroom, unleashing a brutal attack. A vicious fight ensues, with Ethan struggling to defend himself. In desperation, Ethan grabs a gun and demands the traveller call off the snipers. Instead, the traveller activates a far deadlier threat, a weapon set to detonate in 10 minutes. Ethan races to stop the explosion and finds his supervisor with Matto. The traveller, speaking through the earpiece, taunts Ethan, daring him to kill Matto to stop the weapon. Ethan hesitates, torn between his morals and the lives at stake. His hesitation proves costly. Matto kills Ethan's supervisor. Matto reveals a shocking truth. Like Ethan, he's just a pawn. The traveller is holding Matto's husband hostage, forcing him to obey. Despite their shared pain, Ethan and Matto manage to disarm the weapon after a tense struggle. Meanwhile, Detective Elena and Agent John rush to LAX. Elena receives a call from her precinct. LAX has flagged a list of high-profile passengers, including 4 Marines travelling to testify in court. Suspiciously, Agent John was supposed to arrive at the precinct, not the airport. Realising he's an imposter, Elena confronts him. A fierce fight breaks out, and Elena ultimately defeats him. She commandeers a car and speeds toward the airport. Back at LAX, the traveler orders Matto to kill Ethan. A violent fight erupts between them, and in the chaos, Matto accidentally shoots himself. As he lies dying, Matto tearfully apologizes for his actions. Ethan grabs Matto's phone and tries to call Nora, but she doesn't answer. Desperate, he texts a colleague, warning him about Nora's danger and to watch for a suspicious white van. Ethan devises a plan to switch the carry-on bag with a regular bag, hoping to secure the weapon in the cargo hold where he can neutralize it. The traveler retrieves the bag and boards a flight to Washington, D.C. The carry-on is too large for the overhead bin, forcing the flight attendant to send it to the cargo hold, exactly as Ethan anticipated. Nora informs Elena of the situation. Ethan convinces her that the only way to stop the catastrophe is to let the plane take off, explaining he can defuse the weapon in the cargo hold mid-flight. Reluctantly, Nora agrees and helps clear the way for takeoff. Eleanor uncovers a sinister plan. Congresswoman Grace, flying under an alias, is pushing a controversial weapons bill targeting Russian interests. The traveler's goal is to frame the Russians for a chemical attack, manipulating public and political opinion to ensure the bill's passage. As the plane takes off, Ethan sneaks into the cargo hold. The traveler, alerted to Ethan's actions, confronts him. A brutal fight ensues, with Ethan narrowly overpowering the traveler. In a final move, Ethan locks the traveler in the cargo fridge. Ethan successfully neutralizes the weapon, preventing disaster. Impressed by Ethan's bravery, Detective Eleanor offers him a job as a police officer. Though hesitant, Ethan accepts, eager to use his skills for good. 1 year later, Ethan is living a happy, peaceful life with Nora and their child. He and Jason have mended their friendship, and Ethan has found purpose in his new career. And with that, the story comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed that video. Like and share it with your friends. Kindly subscribe and press the bell icon to support the channel. Let's meet in the next story. Till then, take care.